Earlier in the year, I had the opportunity to visit my extended family in the Netherlands for a family reunion. I was there for a little over a week with my grandparents, so my opa could show me where he grew up. Of course, one of the first places we visited was Zandvoort. Back in the early 1960s, my grandfather used to sit on these very hills and watch some of the greatest F1 drivers compete at what is now a very historic racetrack. But if you're watching this video, you likely also own a Pontiac Fiero. And if you know Fieros, you know there's yet another great reason to visit Zandvoort. Well, okay, yes. They do also have good kibbeling and herring, and of course, we did stop by Berg Vis to have a quick snack. But no, we stopped to meet the very famous Cliff of Pennock Fiero Forum. Cliff showed up at Zandvoort Beach with his Pontiac Fiero GT. I have to say, it was so cool to see a Fiero in the Netherlands. We chatted for a bit and made our way to Zandvoort where we had lunch. They had the most delicious Bitterballen. But more about that later. Cliff happily agreed to an interview, and I came prepared to ask him about some of life's most important questions.
I'm here with Cliff Pennock in the Netherlands, and I have a bunch of questions that I'm going to ask him. Because as some of you might know, he is the creator of the Fiero Forums, which is very cool. And yeah, I'm going to interview him. When did you first get into Fieros?
Wow, that was a long time ago. I think the first time I saw a Fiero, I was like 20 years old or so. I was visiting my sister who was living in Cleveland, in Ohio, and they had a Fiero on display at the train museum. There's a train museum there. Not sure why they had a Fiero on display, but and I immediately fell in love with the car. I never cared much about the typical sports cars like Porsches or Ferraris, or they didn't do it for me. But when I saw the Fiero, I was like, okay, this is the car I'm gonna own one day.
And awesome.
And actually a couple years later, I had to go to Texas for work. I lived in Texas for about a year and actually bought my first Fiero there. Took it back to the Netherlands and. That was my first Fiero. It was a black '85, and I had it for a couple of years.
That's really cool.
So that's how I first got in contact with the Fiero.
That's really cool. What made you decide to create the Fiero Forum?
Oh yeah, that's another story. Yeah. Well, my first Fiero was the 15th Fiero ever imported in the Netherlands. So there weren't many around, and there wasn't much information about the Fiero here. So I went online, found a few news groups. Online forums weren't a thing back then, and one of the things that that I didn't like about the news groups was that they were over-moderated. If you asked the wrong question, your question would get deleted, or you would get booted off the news group, and everybody was was tiptoeing around the moderators of those news groups, and I didn't like that at all. And back at that time, I had my own IT company, and the internet was just starting out, and I was also having my own web servers. So I thought, why not create my own kind of space in cyberspace for the Fiero?
And the logo for the forum is your Fiero that you have now, right?
The logo is actually
the one in the is it the top right? I think it's the top right of the page.
Oh, you mean the Fiero? Yeah, that's my current Fiero.
Yeah, that's
actually.
your current Fiero.
Yeah. So I started my own forum, and with the intention that I didn't want the members, the people who were asking questions, to ever feel that they had to be careful what they ask, or and I didn't want, that other members would say, use the search first. And I wanted to create a environment where everybody felt welcome. And I hope I succeeded,
I think you did.
So that's how the forum started.
Oh, that's really cool. Was the Fiero your first car?
No, absolutely not. No, my first car was an old Simca. I'm not sure what. Oh, Chrysler. It's in America it's Chrysler. Yeah, Chrysler. That was my first car. It was beaten up, and but it was mine. So no, Fiero wasn't my first car. No.
Why is Max Verstappen the best Formula One driver?
Why? He looks like me. No. Why is he the best Formula One driver? Well, because that's a hard question to explain. I know why he is. I used to race myself. I used to do go-karting myself when I was young, and I see him do a lot of things naturally, which I had to really learn. And he does that naturally. He has a natural, call it an instinct for driving the proper lines and knowing when to go for a gap. And it's a bit hard to explain, but I really think he is the best Formula One driver maybe that ever existed. I don't want to piss off Lewis Hamilton fans and Michael Schumacher fans and Senna, but it's time for a new king to rule the F1 world. So,
why is Perez not as fast as Max Verstappen?
Why is Perez not as? Well, he's not as good, of course. But no, again, I think one of the good things about Max is it really doesn't matter what car you put him in, because he's able to adapt incredibly fast to whatever circumstances. And you can see that, you can see that in the last race in Canada, where we had dry weather, where we had wet weather, and he just adapts so incredibly fast. And it's also, his driving style is a bit different than others. Others like a car that tends to understeer, so that you go straight in a corner instead of oversteer where your back breaks out. And Max likes a pointy car, which means that he likes a car that oversteers. So, I mean, Alex Albon, his former teammate, said it perfectly. He said, driving Max's car is like playing a game with a mouse on its highest settings, where it's the sensitivity, where you just move the mouse a little bit and then your mouse is all over. And he likes that because it gives him complete control over what the car does. And there are not a lot of drivers who can handle that, who can handle cars such as the car he drives right now. So Perez certainly can.
How many cars have you owned, and how many were Fieros?
Wow. I think I've owned 5 cars, and 3 of them were Fieros. Or maybe 4 cars, and I'm not actually sure.
What were the cars?
Well, the Chrysler and 3 Fieros. And what other cars did I own? I think that might be it. Yeah, 4 cars, of which 3 were Fieros. Yeah.
So that's
and the one I have now, I've owned it for 26 years now.
So when you took the picture of the car for the website, you had only had it for a year then.
That's right. So. Yeah. It was kind of new for me.
That's cool. And the last question that I have written down is, why is the Stroopwafles so amazing?
Why is the Stroopwafles so amazing? I like Stroopwafles a lot. So they are amazing. Why are they amazing? Well, they combine a couple of things that. First of all, the caramel inside. I mean, I love caramel. I like caramel ice. I like everything with caramel. So, I mean, making a cookie with caramel, to me, you can't go wrong. And I think it's a combination of something, the soft sweetness inside with the crunchy cookie outside that makes it. And of course, you know what the proper way is to eat a stroopwafel?
Fresh.
Fresh, yeah. Warm, getting close. What?
Heat it up.
Yeah, you heat it up.
Melty, heat it up.
You heat it up on your cup of coffee. So what you do is you take a cup of coffee and you put your stroopwafel on top of the coffee and let the coffee heat up the stroopwafel. And that's the proper way to eat a stroopwafel.
Nice.
But if you don't drink coffee, tea is good as well.
Buy Stroopwafles and
Buy
eat them. They're
Stroopwafels.
delicious.
Yeah.
So I also just randomly thought of another question. So question 8, not written here. What is your favorite parts of the Fiero? Like when you said you were a kid and you saw the Fiero in the train museum for some reason.
Yeah.
What attracted you to the Fiero?
It's small. It's a small car.
That was my same reasoning when I saw it.
I mean, I'm not one of the largest people around, so I like the fact that it's small and it reminded me of a go-kart. You know, because like I said, I used to do go-kart racing. It felt like driving a go-kart. It steers like a go-kart. I mean, everything, you really have to work. You know, to drive a Fiero it's hard work. You know, because everything is, I mean, the steering is tough. I mean, even the gas pedal, the throttle is you know, it takes some effort to. So yeah, it reminded me of a go-kart, and that's what I liked about it.
Can you tell me a bit more about the go-kart racing? Because that's pretty cool. I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah, well, there's not a lot of people who know.
Well, not a lot of them will be knowing.
Yeah, I used to be in a go-kart racing team.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I started when I was 11, something like that, and I actually think that I could have had a career in racing if I hadn't stopped when I was 14. And the reason I quit was because, something happened when I was 14. My father died when I was 14, and I didn't have any interest in go-karting because that was kind of our thing, you know. Because he always went with me to the go-kart track, and so yeah, that's when I quit racing. But still, now I have my Fiero to race. So.
Yeah, you can race the Fiero racing.
And
that's cool.
lives in Zandvoort.
Yeah,
and I live in Zandvoort. Yeah.
So there's the racetrack back there. It's cool.
I actually live right next to the racetrack, so whenever there's a race, I just open my window and enjoy the sound.
That's so cool. Well, thank you for allowing
You're
me to...
very welcome.
I was about to say interrogate. Thank you for allowing me to interview you.
You know, that's fine. And you
really
enjoy your stay in the Netherlands.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.